That shit ain't working.
Bro, you think so?
What?
Is parenting expensive to you?
Is it expensive?
I feel like the world
No,
gave.
not really,
I feel like the
bro.
world give parenting a bad rap. Like that
I,
shit, the most expensive thing in the world. It's a lot more shit expensive.
Nah,
yeah,
right.
it like it was only expensive like her younger days, like diapers and
Mm-hmm.
milk and all this. But Drea, she had WIC, so she get
Mm.
like free meal, little vouchers and
Yeah.
shit like that. So that was cool. But nah, they not expensive unless you trying to impress
Right.
somebody else by buying them like designer shoes and clothes
No.
and all this other stupid shit. But other than
They
that,
don't
nah.
even know what the hell it is.
Oh yeah.
Hell nah.
I never truthfully understood that notion, and maybe that's just cause, like
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
I know you are, I know you are, but like, so based on like from my parents, right? They're big on like we gonna get you what you need, not what you want, right? So growing up, my shoes is Payless, straight out of Payless, ain't no doubt about it. It just was Payless, Champions, you know what I'm saying? Shacks. That's what I had because they was like, now you need some shoes. These are shoes. You gonna wear them, and that's what you need right now. And that's how, you know what I'm saying? That's how they raised me. Even though to this day, I never owned a pair of J's, bro. To this day, even though I got the money now, but as kids, my parents was like, what do you want $200 pairs of shoes for when you can get this $25 pair of shoes for Payless? So like, all right, well,
In that case,
Oh, you got a point there.
you know what I'm saying?
I gotta put that and speak that in your head. Though.
What am I gonna do? Like,
I spoke that in my head. I would say, fuck all them shoes I would bought.
So
Positive, that was like $20 a piece. I throw them motherfuckers in the trash.
so like I guess that's just me being raised. Now I'm like, dang, what they was doing, of course, what my parents were doing, like, okay, we're not gonna give you $200 for some shoes. We're gonna pay this $25, and we're gonna put the $175 into your savings or into your, bank account. So when you grow up, you can go ahead and invest that into whatever case may be, right? That's how they maneuver, especially coming from where they came from in Jamaica, where they're not coming to the States to play around. They're coming to the States to work for the better money than it was in Jamaica. Save up, gonna get my family members back over here to the States. So anything materialistically wise, he wasn't like, well, what you got going on? What you thinking? And then it's because I'm raised in the States, so I'm hanging with those who's in the States, and they're big on the materialistic things. In Jamaica, they ain't caring nothing about that. So that's how and I'm grateful. I shout out to my parents for raising me the way they did, and shout out to my father, who was a real deal entrepreneur, and got out the mud doing upholstery. Still doing it to this day. But yeah. But my notion behind that is like, I know for me now, growing up, I mean, if I had kids, I'm definitely putting out the same notion. Not saying that I'm not gonna get them quality shoes or anything like that.
Shoes.
But if I see a $25 shoe and I see a $200 shoe, I'm definitely gonna get that $25 shoe because I know they about to scuff it up that next day. It's gonna get scuffed up on the recess playground. So that's just my head though.
so look, I see it both ways. Totally agree with AC. One thing I admire about my pops, which I think the shit made me super dangerous, is he spoiled the shit out of us. And when we hit 12, he gave us the "you about to be a man" speech, and how like men essentially spoil themselves and they grow up to have families that they spoil.
Right.
So by the time I hit like from 12 and I'll be 33 in August, I probably done asked my daddy for money. Shit, probably 4 times in 20 years.
I understand.
Because he had already, like, when he gave us that conversation, I took to it immediately. I almost felt bad for asking for shit. I felt like that's not what men do. So, which that ain't always a good way to look at it, y'all. Because you could starve or crash out and niggas would have helped you. Because I've done it.
Yeah.
But because he did that, I had a sense of entitlement because I was spoiled. But because he told me basically, niggas with sense of entitlements have to earn them. Like, you feel like the world owe you something? Well, go out there and put the work in so the shit can justify what you asking for.
Right.
And when I got that mentality at 12, I went crazy. Like, from hustling, like, little candy sales to selling diapers in high school to being like I used to just steal shit. I worked at Winn-Dixie. I used to just steal all the shit from Winn-Dixie, take it to the high school and flip it. And I was the man. But to furthermore speak on that about the devil's advocate part.
Yeah.
So I do agree. I agree with AC, but at the same time, I do believe that some people may invest in trinkets or materials that are very much more expensive than what they typically had coming up, because they may be trying to set a different tone or standard. So I'm gonna just give you an opinion on me.
I got you.
Like, the graduation present for every child, and you typically gonna graduate around like between 9 and 10 in my house, but your graduation present is gonna be a kilo Cuban and a plain Jane Rollie. I feel like, in a gun. Those three things that like both of my older children have, and my next two that's creeping up, that's closer to that age bracket, they gonna get the same graduation. So for me, I would go buy them a kilo Cuban or a Rolex, not to impress, and I ain't saying, because some people do it, bro. I'm just saying, not to impress, but more so set the standard. And I understand how important and how valuable gold is. Right. So like, I'd rather spend $50,000 getting my youngins they jewelry starter kit and 2 guns, then spending like $5,000 for 10 years on birthday gifts, Christmas, and now they broke at the end of the day, got no assets, no nothing. They just got a bunch of pictures with memory. So I do agree though. A lot of people do it to impress, but I know for me, at this stage, it's more so just setting the standard and evolving them to where, like, my graduation present was $500 cash at 17 in 12th grade. Their graduation is, first off, held in the house. So we breaking that generational curse that we need a motherfucker to give us any type of piece of paper for validation. We graduate ourselves. And then secondly, they'll live and grow into adulthood with moving assets, which is whether it be gold, guns, etc. But yeah, bro, I know, like, for Supreme, he's due September 24th. I definitely told his mama to make sure his stroller is gold. I definitely yeah, bro, I think it varies because we plan to have him outside. None of my other children had that experience. So I think it go both ways. Like, some people just want to do it different or step it up to, like, genuinely step it up. Then some niggas gonna have your baby Louis V down, and he don't know what none of that shit mean. You just want to get 1,000 likes on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Right, to talk on that, right, like, those are assets. So that's perfect. Like, me, if I was in that scenario, I would buy my daughter a Rollie Cuban because it's an asset.
Right.
Now, I don't spend bread on designer and all this, but don't get it. She breaks me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely spend bread on her.
Yeah,
but
I gonna say, bro, because I be lying. I'm full of shit to say, like, I don't spoil mine. I spoil the shit out of it.
She's rotten.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. My daddy bought me everything I wanted. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I can't tell you one time I was like, I want something. That man never told me no in my life. I don't know how to tell mine no. I would feel like a fucked up daddy, be like, nigga, your life wasn't like that. Why you finna do that shit to them?
That's bad. Like,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
I'd be like, okay, London may want this, she may want that, but I'm gonna grab her 2 more just to surprise her, right? I get home, he be like, Daddy, I don't even like this. Can you take that and get that one? I be like, God damn.
And bro, I'm gonna tell you some real shit, bro. As fathers and as men, y'all especially, be careful with trying to live up to certain standards that were set before you. Because I'm gonna tell you something I did. I remember my pops took me out of the country for the first time at 13. And I remember back then just thinking to myself, like, oh, I gotta make it a tradition I take my children out the country. So I've taken them out. Like, they went, the first place they ever been to was London. Took them out of the country. So, like, I made that deal with myself like 20 years ago. And, like, no, it wasn't even 20. It was probably like 16 years ago at that time. And I made it come true. I was proud. But I could try to maintain that type of lifestyle, make that shit like a every month thing, trying to keep up with a tradition that my pops did every summer, and then I fuck around and be broke in that new world, not realizing, like, you know, your pops only did that expensive trip once or twice a year. So to people that's listening with successful parents, regular parents, your parents may be the next famous, or to the bros listening that may be raising the next genius that's gonna be rich within our culture or globally, whatever the case is. Be mindful about, like, the pressure that you put on them. I've done it to my own children. My son done told me shit before, like, I don't want to do that like you, and you like, you keep pushing that to me to do that, and I had to respect that. Like, bro, he don't like what I like, and although he's enjoying the lifestyle that I provide for him right now, that may not be what he aspires to have. So as I'm pushing my thought process on him, like, hey, well, if you want to live how I'm living or how I help y'all live, you got to do X, Y, Z. He may be on some, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this shit right now while I'm 20, but when I move out at 25, like, I'm cool with just having an apartment, one car, and chilling like a motherfucker. So definitely got to be careful with the social pressure and, like, the generational pressure. A lot of y'all that be talking about breaking curses, that shit come with work. That shit come with years of your life. That shit gonna come with wear and tear on your mind, your body, and your soul. So be mindful, like, you talking about undoing some shit that, like, 100 niggas with your last name was doing all during the 80s. You got some work to do. You know everything about sports, everything about music, fucking what weed is popping, what's designer, what's this and that, but you don't know shit about yourself. So a lot of you guys are just well-dressed vessels.